Hey, it's Darlene. Welcome to my channel and to my creative life. I am working on page 2 of a layout that I did earlier this week. And this is part 2. This is the sketch that I'm using. The sketch is from Sketch and Scrap, and I'll have a link in the information box. I'll also have a link to the first video or part 1 of this 2-page spread. So I mostly use a sketch for this particular 2-pager for these background pictures. So the sketch, if you took a really good look, it had these 3 pattern papers and then 2 photos and a title. I believe it was 6 photos in the first the left side of the layout, and this one has 5. So I'm using it mostly, or the sketch mostly, to get some paper on the background and really kind of set an area that I'm going to build off of. So you can tell I have lots of photos, and at some point I want to trim some things down so that you still see the pretties. I don't know if that makes sense. So I am basically saying I'm inspired by the sketch. I'm not following the sketch exactly, which is your right to do, right? So these are meant to encourage or inspire you to create something instead of just looking at a blank page, or at least that's the way I look at it. So again, I'm just kind of fiddling around. Where am I putting these photos? But I definitely want them all in there. So I decide the photo that I'm showing you right here, are there some sections that I can cut off? Like those little megaphones on top. Sure, they're super cute, but I really want the words more than I want the super cute megaphones. So, I'm going to trim those down. I'm also going to trim a little bit on the right and left sides so it's a little bit thinner. So that'll also adjust the size of the area that I need for it. And look at how much of a big difference that looks. In my opinion, it just really gives it more interest because it's a different size photo. Now those two that one that I'm touching now and the one that's the direct opposite, the upper right, those are a little bit smaller. And I do that by going to just using my local Walgreens, printing my photos there, and I use the collage print, and it's the 4x6 size. So if you put 2 photos on there, it comes about wallet size-ish, I always say. But of course, if you add more photos, then they adjust their sizes. Some are thinner, some are wider, some are tall. It just depends. And there's so many different orientations and choices. And that's such a fun thing to do, especially when you have a ton of pictures to scrapbook, which I definitely do for this particular occasion. So, I mentioned on my part 1, and I'll mention here, that the main embellishments that I'm playing with right now, and that paper that's back there, it's yellow. It almost looks like a quilt, like a pinwheel quilt. That set is actually a nautical themed set. I'm also going to use some stickers that came from that set. Now, the reason why I chose to use them for this particular occasion is I looked at the colors, which were blue and yellow, and like a dark blue and yellow. And so they match the color scheme, although it didn't match the theme. I'm not sure how to say that, but it's still usable. Now, the back side of these are kind of generic in the sense that they're the colors, right? But they're not necessarily nautical. But then the other side, the A side or the main side, they do have nautical prints, which of course I did not use. So I wanted that to be a key item to mention as well, because just because you have a set that's a particular theme doesn't mean you necessarily have to use it. This was a set that I think I won at something, because I know I wouldn't have bought it because I'm not a nautical person. And I've kept it. And at one point I was kind of going through my stash and just kind of purging, and it was in my purge file. It was an entire kit, beautiful kit, but I'm just not into nautical things or sailing or on a boat, things like that. And then when I was looking for paper for this particular marathon that my family and I do, I thought, oh my God, those papers would be perfect. And, they really did. There was a lot of stars and a lot of things that really do coordinate. Now, there's some things that are definitely nautical, and I'm not going to use them with this, which is fine. I'm going to use up as much as I can. So at least I can say I used up that kit. And I think it looks so cute. And I hope that you were able to watch the first video, which again, I'm going to link it or have a link in the information box. I also have a link to my blog, so you can see all this on my blog post, get the exact measurements for those paper strips. I just totally guessed on them. I'm trying at this point, I'm looking at those papers thinking, wow, I could probably cut some words off and use them for embellishments. But the more I was looking at them, the more I realized there was nothing that really fit or that I wanted to add to the layout. So I'll put that aside for a minute. But, again, cut up your stuff, use what you need to use. And if you don't use the entire thing, put them in a bag. The next time you go to a crop or hang out with your scrapbooking friends, just add it right there with them. But I hope you like this video. And if you do, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I do post 2 videos a week. One is always scrapbooking, with the exception of this week because I did 2 scrapbooking. But I try to do whatever it is I'm creating in my life, because I do have a creative life, which I love. So again, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and thank you so much for watching. I'll show you both this layout, and there's the first one again. Thanks again. Bye.